everybody.
Hi.
Last but not least, in my series of interviews with GIPAM service leads, I'm joined by Sabrina Müller and Thomas Wilke, and we are going to talk about maybe what's at the heart of GIPAM or its original core offering, which is the real-world evidence solutions that we have in Europe. So just in case there is any listeners who don't know who you are, I don't think there's many, but just in case, could you introduce yourselves and yes, explain a little bit about your role at GIPAM?
Sabrina, go ahead, please.
I should start? Okay, thank you. Yeah, hi, I'm Sabrina Müller. I'm a health economist with, I would say, deep-rooted passion for real-world evidence and data-driven insights. And for over 15 years, I've had the pleasure to work across different therapeutic areas and leveraging variety of real-world data sources and different types of studies. And now I'm super excited to be part of GIPAM. I'm the MD of their GIPAM in Europe, and for me, GIPAM is a place where I get to collaborate with our inspiring team that shares the same drive for high quality evidence generation.
Thank you. And Thomas?
My name Thomas Wilke. I'm scientific lead of GIPAM, also with a certain role in mainly in Europe, in the European operations. I'm a professor at a German University of Wismar, leading an institute called IPAM, which is very similar on purpose to GIPAM or GIPAM. That institute is mainly doing German claims data analysis and have in different roles almost 20, 25 years experience with real-world evidence studies, and now trying to provide some ideas and implement some ideas how we could do things a bit differently and in another way than maybe the traditional way of doing RWE studies.
Nice, and I'm sure you'll talk a little bit more about that in later answers. So without giving away your ages, that's really important, how long have you known each other? And how fundamental do you think that working relationship is in shaping GIPAM and the company you've developed together?
We previously discussed that we are quite reluctant in saying the number of years, but it has been 20 years, to be honest. I met Sabrina first as she joined our university, and some months ago, before she joined, I joined that university. So we were both pretty new, and then started quite soon to work with each other, student assistant. Then we set up together the research institute. So to be honest, it's 20 years, and it's what to say about it is important, of course. I mean, it's no longer necessary that Sabrina tells me what she thinks. It's just her face in a personal meeting or a video conference, and I see what's going on. But of course, it's important because trust is important. We talk a lot about technology and all these things in our business, but at the end, it's about persons and people. And if you can work with someone whom you trust, that helps a lot. And above all, it's the fun part also. If I work with persons I like and I trust, then everything is easier.
I'm monitoring Sabrina's face very closely to see if she agrees with you.
Yeah,
I think she does.
At least my reading of her face is she does this time. Not all the times, but this time.
Great. And it was
absolutely agree. Yeah.
And personally, for me, it was those familiar relationships that was a key motivator for me joining. So I completely resonate with what you said, Thomas.
Thank you.
So going to the heart of our company and the services we provide our clients, If you had to explain the core offering of GIPAM's European real-world evidence solutions in just a few sentences, how would you describe our services?
Yeah, so the core, so RWE can mean different things, right? It means database studies, working with retrospective databases. It might mean medical chart reviews, maybe generation of EMR data, electronic medical record data, which we also do with our OncoCase platform. And it might also mean surveys, physician surveys, patient surveys, willingness to pay analysis, discrete choice analysis, and so on. So we more or less offer the full range of RWE in Europe, but of course, and maybe I'm focusing a bit on that, the database studies are still a really important part of that. And the core of our offering is, in addition to our analytical skills and many tools now that support this work, is access and experience with all the core databases across Europe. Might it be Nordic data, UK data, French, Italian data. And in addition to that, in our home market, Germany, we have access to unique data sets. Nobody else has access to these data sets, German claims data sets, example GWQ data set, and also facing very soon, of course, work with the new German claims data set called FDZ. That's the core, I would say.
Just describing it makes me feel that you're very busy. There's a lot to offer our clients. So that's nice to see that long list of services. So what are some of the most common challenges our clients face when they come to you and need an RWE solution in Europe?
Yeah, maybe I can take this one. I think one of the most common challenges our clients face is navigating the complexity of real world data. Yeah? So especially when it comes to understanding what's feasible with different databases across Europe. And I have to say, our clients often approach us with very specific research questions, but then without a full clarity on whether the data exists, how complete it is, or how reliably certain outcomes can be captured, right? And yeah, then on the other hand, another recurring challenge is the alignment between regulatory or HTA expectations and what real world data then can actually deliver. And there's sometimes, or maybe often, a gap between the ideal evidence and what's realistically achievable from secondary data source. And so I think then our role as a consultancy is to bridge the gap a bit, and we help by clearly assessing the feasibility upfront, advising on which databases are most appropriate for the respective research question, and maybe refining the research design to balance then the scientific robustness with the real world restrictions.
Nice. And it sounds like you also have to then be transparent about those limitations with our clients, but try the best to get the best out of it.
Absolutely.
Great. So I think you've alluded to maybe some of our unique offerings, but how would you describe, what's unique about what GIPAM does compared to some other competitors out there? Yep. Besides you two.
Maybe I can answer that, acknowledging that obviously I don't have full transparency about what others do, right? So that's always a bit difficult. So I already mentioned the unique data access. So that is, of course, one of the major points. In addition to that, I would say it's a mixture of, let's say, approach, experts, persons, and technology. And what I mean by that is approach, maybe the first point. Sabrina already mentioned that we are approached by different clients, and sometimes first, our approach is to understand what the client really needs. So what's the strategic rationale behind the study? And because we cannot help clients by studies that at the end generate data that do not align with their strategic objectives. So I think that's unique, that we first ask, what is the strategic rationale? And that is, let's say, a free of charge strategic consulting we provide, simply because we think that a client who gets results that are not needed is not a happy client. The second thing, of course, is, I mean, we are mid-sized and still have many experts for real-world evidence and database studies with more than 10 years experience. If clients do studies with us, they can be sure that such an expert with at least 5, in most cases 10 years experience in this type of studies leads the concrete study, participates in the client meetings, and leads all the important steps. So that's, I think, the second element. And the third is then technology that applies to different types of RWE studies. I already mentioned our OncoCase platform for EMR data generation, but also in database studies. Increasingly, technology plays a major role. So just using this example of the German-wide FDZ dataset, we use technology to develop analytic codes, Python codes, and do other things. We use technology to generate reports, to plan our studies, and we also use technology to record our studies and study results in a tool called Navigator with its attached evidence library. So technology, experts, and approach around strategy, in addition to unique data access. I think that describes what makes us unique.
Sounds great to me. And just talking to the technology, what benefit does that have to the client? You know, definitely I can see the internal benefits as well, but how would you describe the benefit to our clients by enabling what we do via technology?
Should I take that as well, Sabrina? Up to you.
Yeah, please go ahead. I can, if you want.
So that is maybe it really depends, to be clear. So you mentioned that internally, of course, it helps, but if I use technology to, for example, let's use that example. We need to develop analytical codes, Python codes for a database study. Then technology also helps me to minimize the human error, which means better quality. And if I use, on the other hand, technology, as we do it with our library concept, to document study results, then it increases transparency for the client. In addition, I mean, we have this tool, Database Finder, that does not only include European databases, also those from the US. And their technology also helps us to choose the right data, to have the right discussions with the clients. So it's supportive at the end. But also the assessment, what we need to do, and what makes sense from a strategic perspective, that can never be done by technology. That's still done by humans, and we are happy to do that.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. So you mentioned FDZ. So this is our opportunity to explain to the audience, you know, what is FDZ and what should our clients know about it?
I guess.
I think that's on you, Sabrina. We're all looking at you.
So yeah, FDZ stands for Forschungsdatenzentrum. Very German word that can be translated to research data center. And while the research data center has existed for some time, the Research Data Center for Health has been newly established under the framework of the Health Data Act, which came into effect in March 2024. And what makes now the FDZ interesting is its aim to consolidate administrative data from all German statutory health insurance funds into one centralized research database. So this will provide then access to data on the entire SHI population, consisting of over 70 million insured individuals in Germany. Yeah. Wow, exactly. So, yeah, but to be honest here as well, why German claims data have a limitation or these limitation then also, of course, apply then to FDZ, right? So for example, in terms of availability of clinical and laboratory details. So we will also not have that yet in the FDZ data. They are planned in the future, but we will not know, or we do not know when this will happen, but they plan some kind of linkage, for example, with German registry data. In oncology, then the data will be much richer than the German claims data we know now. But at the end, the FDZ will be exceptionally rich in other areas and will have this broad coverage, right? And it will cover treatment pathways in a really good way with covering all the different settings. It will have complete mortality data, healthcare resource utilization, costs, and others. So our clients should know about the FDZ because of the data richness and the broad coverage. But on the other hand, they should also understand that, timeline, feasibility constraints, and some methodological requirements are really critical to designing a successful study based on the FDZ. And at GIPAM, we guide our clients then through their entire process, from framing a research question in a data accessible way to managing the application, and then finally conducting the analysis within the secured FDZ environment, but with using, as Thomas mentioned, specific technologies, ensuring high quality of queries and data work, analytical codes, and standardized processes.
Great. Sounds like we're prepared to use it and guide our clients, and we're already providing strategy and what works and what are some of the limitations. So that gives me comfort. So thank you.
So we are ready to go as soon as the FDZ is ready to go.
Right. Glad to hear. So I've been ending these series of interviews with 2 questions. So let's keep to consistency. I'd like to understand, maybe in the context of European real-world evidence, what excites you the most about the future of our company?
Should I start, Sabrina?
Please.
So, and I also trying to be consistent because I was part of 1 or 2 former interviews, but nevertheless, if we have a look at the RWE market at the moment, and at the needs of our clients, and what is also possible based on new data and new technology, I think we are operating in a market with rapid changes. And I have experience with companies, you might also have them, where from the assessment of changes that are needed until implementation, we observed months or sometimes years. And in that period, there were extensive discussions that were really exhausting to all who tried to implement some changes and to implement maybe new innovative approaches. What excites me most about GIPAM is that we simply save that time. We are a small group of people, and that brings me back to this trust at the beginning. We discuss innovations, changes that are needed between us, discuss it with our team, let's say in a couple of weeks, and then we implement. And that's it. There's no more time and internal resources needed to implement this. And this excites me most. And I hope we keep that culture within the company, that if we are convinced something needs to be done, something needs to be changed, that we simply do it. And that's it.
It's important for survival as our markets are changing and staying on top of that. So I agree.
Of course. Yeah.
Sabrina, any thoughts from you on what excites you the most?
Yeah, so 100% agree on that, for sure. And then in addition to that, for me, it's always great that we do not stop to learn from each other, and also from the now, Thomas, you said it now at the beginning, more than 20 years together. So there are some newer and younger colleagues with new with new insight, and I love that we always have an open ear and that we always hear their thoughts and implement that in our work with which I guess is really, really important. And I really like that. It's a pleasure.
It's true. I think it's important to take a moment to acknowledge the wider GIPAM talent that we have and the next generation of company leaders when it's their time. So I fully agree with you there. Last question. Any final thoughts or messages for clients thinking about working with us? Send an RFP to Thomas, maybe?
Maybe that's not the worst idea. Yes, but maybe, and that's really consistent to I remember our interview around strategic planning, where I made this timeline argument, and I would like to make that again. Maybe starting with a hypothesis. So my hypothesis is that still at pharma companies, specifically at bigger pharma companies, lots of time, energy, and money is lost because a consistent RWE strategy is not defined early, but is more piecewise defined. So we see clients who start with a US database analysis. Then it comes to the next country, the next, and so on. And again, the study is reinvented and reinvented. So early planning, maybe even of multi-country RWE studies, early identification of evidence needs, and so on, that might help. So my wish list would be that we have more than now, more early discussions with our clients. Not every discussion might lead to a study, and we don't need that, but that we can help our clients early with development of a RWE strategy that is then implemented, that's still agile. So we don't want to fix everything, but that would be on the wish list. What's always disappointing for us is if clients ask us to do something and we need to tell them there is no time for doing this because there are approval times, data collection times, whatever, that are needed, and we cannot change that. So that would be on my wish list, in addition to the RFPs you mentioned.
Sabrina, anything to add to that?
Well, I guess this is complete.
Yeah. Great. It's always a pleasure when we
be maybe a Sabrina that always agrees with me, which is by
we
far
know that's not true. The insiders know that's not true. Let's just
no, I'm just kidding.
No, you don't want that.
Great. Thank you both for your time. It's always a pleasure when we get together. So thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
Bye.
You too.
Bye,
Maria.
Bye.